Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we're very pleased to have a return appearance by this very, very talented woman. She's a concert pianist and author now, Jeeyoon Kim. How are you doing, Jeeyoon?
I'm doing great. No complaints.
Very, very good. When's the last time you were on? I'm trying to remember. Was it before COVID or during COVID?
During COVID.
During COVID, right, exactly. But no, I remember it was a very energetic interview and very good. Talk about your background. We'll start as a pianist, and then we're going to get into that very cool book of yours, Beyond the Keys, and also your newest album as well.
Yeah, I'm from South Korea. I'm born and raised in South Korea. I started playing piano when I was 4 years old. And at the time, I don't know, I chose piano necessarily, thanks to my parents. They put me in Piano Institute, and I remember it was super cool and fun. And that feeling of super cool and fun still remains in the age of 45.
45. Oh, my goodness. You look about 20. I don't mean that as it's just wonderful. I mean, what you've done, what you've accomplished. Were your parents pianists?
No, but they love to sing. And that's in Korean culture, singing is part of the culture. That's why every other building you will see karaoke, and every family gathering, even though I play piano, they ask me, Jeeyoon, sing something. I could play piano, but they ask me to sing.
Do you sing?
I could sing. Yeah,
okay, yeah. But you don't. But you sing on your albums, or is it just
no? But I enjoy singing, and I think singing is important quality as a musician to be able to play any other instrument. So I'm thankful to have that culture in my background.
Right. Have you ever been a part of a group that sings? Obviously, you play piano and concert pianist and so forth. But have you ever said, hey, I'm going to get together with some friends and we're just going to sing, whether it's karaoke or whether it's a little group? No?
It's funny because family gathering, we sing along. And I was also choir director for 10 years in Bloomington. When I was doing doctorate, I was a choir director. That meant I was singing along with them, coaching them, and also accompany with organ and piano.
Now, when you were doing that choir director, was it with the students in Indiana University or was it with the schools in Bloomington?
No, residences of Bloomington. So a lot of old folks, but then I tried to recruit some of the students at IU to join the choir, which was always a lot of work, but I really worked with people who lived in Bloomington.
So was it seniors groups?
Yes.
That is so. Do you do that here?
No.
Why not?
It's a weekly commitment every Sunday. Now that I have to travel so much for performances, commitment for a lot of concerts also taking place on weekends, and I didn't want that one job is always obligated to be there on weekly basis on Sundays. So that was a bit too much for my plate for now, but while I was doing it, I enjoyed it.
So, do you remember your very first concert? How old were you?
Ooh,
5?
Yes. Well, yes. And now I think about it, I do remember. I think it maybe 5th grade. The ones that I have a vivid memory,
right? And
I was so scared, and I thought this is too much. I enjoy playing piano, but not concert. So. That was, but then at the same time, I play differently during the concert in a positive way. It's different energy, different kind of emotion that occur during the live concert that I couldn't revive during the rehearsal or practice. So I think there was first taste of what live meant for me.
I'm so glad you said that. We say this quite a bit. We have a lot of arts groups on our Spotlight show, whether they're theater groups, whether they're musicians, whether they're singers. And of course, as you know, more than anyone, that everything shut down during the pandemic and no more live, at least for a while. And they're coming back, maybe not as fast as some of the groups would like, but it's coming back. And anybody who's done, things in the theater, or whether it's a concert, it is such a difference to see it live versus video. Talk about just the energy, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, for sure.
And what it does is you play off that audience, do you not? And you get excitement and energy from that audience who's watching it live.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the music is meant to be shared, and it cannot, again, reproduce that energy on your own, even if you try. And I always thinking as a circle, the music create a complete circle when there is even one person in presence. That creates a transcendental experience. And I always feel that I am a communicator. I'm a middle person between music and the people. So it's not me showing up and egoistically see what I can do, but more so there's a music and people can drink the cup of music through my interpretation. And so I'm their mere cup for the music.
Well, there's been so much research on this for many years, and that what music, art in general, but especially music, does to the chemicals in your brain, everything else, well documented. And we work with a bunch of groups. Resounding Joy is one of the groups we work with. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but it works with sort of how that. It affects the brain, and it affects, and this, you just described it in this area. But one thing that's been interesting to me, you really want to see more people get engaged or geeked up, I'll use that term, with classical music.
Yeah.
And have them really understand it and talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people call me as a gateway drug to classical music. My mission as a pianist to create a bridge between me as a performer, as a classical pianist, and to the audience. So oftentimes I find that classical music is not a fault that people don't come near. It's the delivery sometimes, or a tradition that get in the way. You have to know something about it. You have to dress a certain way. You have to know when to clap. And, a lot of those formality is the ones that drive people away. So I learned that, invite my friends or people into my studio. Let's say 5 people come along and they never listen to classical music. And I say, this piece really breaks my heart. And I'm not sure what Brahms was thinking, but I think this really feels like I am smiling, but with tears in my eyes. And I play, let's say, one of the pieces up by Brahms, and they're tear up. They're like, I did not know, what is this? What is this music? Why does that to my emotions? Then maybe that stir in such a way that buried in deep inside of them, or a memory of them in a youth or in the past, or some person or some story. And I believe that classical music, one of the best way to get into people's soul directly, and people don't have that dose of classical music because of the formality. It's so stiff at times. So that's why I started all my concerts. I started to have a microphone on stage. I don't go disappear to the backstage. I was starting to question every formality besides the content of the classical music and see, do I need to go back to backstage if I'm going to come back outside right away? Do I need it? And I decided, probably not. And program notes, do I need it if I'm going to guide them? Maybe they don't need it. I started to give after the concert. And I started to incorporate some of the artist collaboration with artwork so they evoke similar essence of emotions of the piece that I'm about to play and project it on the screen. Or sometimes I'll collaborate with poets and I recite the poem before I play. And all of these things kind of help them to get into the piece that I'm about to play. And that made huge difference on the experience of classical music. And now, once you experience classical music in the correct way, now you can venture out the symphony or chamber music, however you want to venture out. Now you have, again, gateway into the classical music, which is there for you to appreciate and use it for tools in life?
Well, it's like an audience 101 for classical music, basically. Seriously, how to listen to, and now you're explaining what it looks like, what it means, at least what it means to you. Who the artist is. We're chatting with Jeeyoon Kim. She is a concert pianist. She is an author of Being on the Keys. We're going to be talking about that in a few minutes here. Also, we're going to talk about her new album, Radiance. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 20th year. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's the arts, whether it's financial literacy. They've just been great partners. Let's sort of pivot just a little bit to Beyond the Keys. Is this your first book?
4th book.
Oh, okay. What were the other? Well, before we get into Beyond the Keys, when did you do your first book?
It was 2020.
Okay.
I think that's reason why I was on your show too.
Okay.
It's called Whenever You're Ready. That was basically kind of self-help kind of book that shared the behind the scenes of Pianist, and mostly about how to compose your life, dream of your life. And the title, Whenever You're Ready, came from all of this stage manager, before I go on the stage, holding the door to the stage and ask, whenever you're ready. And the moment before I go on to stage, I ask myself, am I ready? And the answer was, I'm not sure I'm ready, but I'm going to go on and play anyway. And that moment of courage that generated within myself, walk to the stage with the chandeliers and cheerful audiences, are not made it possible during that split second of right before the stage, but daily life, behind the scenes, what I do, of how to create a habit, how to combat negativity within myself or from others, how to dream more, how to create more, how to take care of my body or mind, that all of this behind the scenes story to be possible for me to perform on stage. And I collected all those ideas in the book, Whenever You're Ready. That was, because I feel that everybody has a stage called life. And everything worth doing makes you vulnerable and takes that kind of courage. So I shared my glimpse of life as a pianist. Maybe it can be applicable to other people who goes through their life too. So that was the first book. And then that was translated into Korean. And it was published in Korea. But then that second book there was the professional translator that translating the book. And there was a book deal that happened during the time. And I asked to the publisher in Korea, can I take a look? Or I don't have to take a look what this translator doing, but can I try to write or translate my own book to my native language in Korean? And you decide which version is better. So when I started to translate my own book, the first chapter, I realized I'm not translating here. I'm actually recreating the concept in my head. If I use a pumpkin in English, there's no way I would use a pumpkin in Korean, while professional translator would use the pumpkin, which doesn't make any sense. And then after I did the first chapter and publisher said, there's no other way but you translate it or rewrite it. Wow. However, so that was my second book, which became a bestseller in Korea at that time. And then the third book was a professional memoir of my friend who's a photographer. He's 92 years old. And I started as a ghostwriter for his memoir, but then later on, he's like, no, I want you to be a writer and written as your voice about my life. So that was called Ever the Beginning. So that was the memoir and the third book, and then Beyond the Keys.
So Beyond the Keys, wow. What I love about how you're describing all this, whether it's you think these things out a lot, okay? You're very thoughtful, deep thinking, and it just seems so natural to you. You're going to have some meaning associated with something. Maybe the next day that meaning will change. Maybe because that's how you think, and that's how you. And do you look at yourself as much as a teacher as you are as musician?
That's a really great question. After I finished my doctorate degree in piano performance, I went back to master's degree in music education in piano. The reason why I go back was that I was able to talk about advanced level of Chopin or Beethoven, but I was not be able to connect 4 years old how to start piano. And that really frustrated me. Why couldn't I connect with a beginner? And I went through the education degree. During that time, I realized, everything makes sense. Every life or every performance makes sense as educator's lens. You have to digest enough to connect to someone who may know or may not know. You always start with what they may know and then go to unknown. And that's the educator's mindset. And everything I do on stage or writing, I have a humble position. I may not know everything, but I have this something that I want to present to you, but in a very tangible, practical, and also friendly way. I never really consider myself as a teacher, although I teach all the time, piano and everything. But the educator's mindset is one of the key elements of everything I do.
You can see that just based on, describing your first books on how you go out on stage and so forth. We come back, we're going to continue the conversation with the Jeeyoon Kim, concert pianist, the author of Beyond the Keys. We're going to talk about her new album, Radiance. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things. People living in San Diego County, so honored to have a return appearance from this classical and concert pianist, Jeeyoon Kim. She also is a author, and we're going to talk about Beyond the Keys right now, and then her album, Radiance. So Beyond the Keys, obviously the piano keys. I'm assuming it's the piano keys. What's it about?
This one has 52 chapters within it. Short stories of my, again, very relatable stories. It may be behind the story of Pianist, or maybe how did I become a cat person, or how did I start surfing, and all of the life experiences that taught me something, and nuggets of wisdoms that I learned through some of the books. So there was 52 essays, but more importantly, I wanted to pair that with 52 different performances of my live performances through QR code, along with 52 artwork that I collaborated with 52 artists around the world, the living artists. And so that this is an invitation for people. When you hold this book, I want this book to be so beautiful book in your hand. And each
it's a gorgeous book.
Each chapter, you don't have to, I don't want you to actually read from the beginning to the end at once, but maybe one at a time. Maybe it doesn't have to be in order even. And read a chapter and then listen to music, or looking at the artwork. And sometimes, we never have that chance to look at the artwork for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, feels like forever. And we never do that. But if you intentionally only listen to a piece of music guided by, again, how I explain about that piece, and that's kind of like your muscles relaxes in that during a minute or two. And this is an active invitation to slow down. And I want people to, as much as a stimulant surrounded all the technology we have, but this way is the beautiful way to be received from the form of art, whether that it's beautiful performance or the artwork or the most proven way to connection, which is storytelling.
Well, you hit on something that I think everybody can relate to in this wild and crazy world of social media and texting and God knows what AI and whatever the next version of AI 2.0 is that we do not take time to reflect. We one thing to the other and all that. And then when we do have time to reflect, and my comment to people on it, I'm just as guilty as anyone else. But when you do have time, you just feel so good. I can actually stop and think a little bit about what I just listened to or what I just read or what I just saw. And part of me says you need to make time for that.
Yeah.
And you listen, it's like with anything. Well, I don't have time to do X. You do have time to do X. You're just choosing to do something else. There's nothing wrong, but that was your choice.
Yeah.
Maybe I read too much about Steve Covey's 7 Habits of Leadership because his whole focus is, no, we do have time to do these things, we just choose not to.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of my favorite comments from the readers for all of this book is that someone followed my advice really closely and said, there's a 10 chapter left in your book. And I'm sad. That means even if I prolong as much as possible, that's 10 days left. It's like 30 days to Christmas. They really took it as some kind of gift they get to have per day. And that's a really beautiful way to appreciate this, something on art. Again, it's beyond me, what I wrote, but it's something that you may venture out. You may get into reading again. Maybe you see concerts and you want to hear it live, or you see a gallery and you want to just walk in and look at the artwork for 3 minutes or so. This is a part book, part concert, part gallery in your pocket.
And how do they get the book? Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon. Okay. And of course, if you wanted to get a signed copy, you can come to my website, jeeyonkim.com.
Very good. That's Jeeyoon Kim, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, very, very good. Talk about the album, Radiance.
Radiance. So I just had 2 weeks ago have a world premiere concert right here in San Diego at Conrad Performance Concert Hall in La Jolla.
Wow.
I produced 4 albums thus far. Every album started in San Diego and before embarked a national tour. And this wasn't different. I started 2 weeks ago this world premiere concert with 500 people in the audience. In this concert project and then also album Radiance. And just like the sunlight could warm up and brighten up the entire earth, I wanted every piece of music in this album have a ray of light. And whoever needs some pick-me-up or some kind of ray of light during their day. And I collected pieces that kind of gives me that sun ray. One of the pieces that I collected is a pictures at exhibition by Mussorgsky, which is more well known for the orchestral version, but he never heard the orchestral version by Ravel. He wrote it for solo piano, and I again collaborate with 17 different artists around the world. And that particular piece is about him walking through the gallery by his artist friend who recently passed away at that time. And he kind of chose his artwork titles in each piece of music. And there is a pathway that he walks through the galleries that's called Promenade. And that's 15 different movements within it. And I selected a different artwork that evoked a similar musical essence or emotional essence with a contemporary artist. And I created a different journey with it. And again, after the journey of the 30 minutes of this, one of the most demanding piano works in the piano repertoire, that you sense of we went through Appalachian trails together or went through the Himalaya together. There's a sense of kind of accomplish things together. And I love that idea of experiencing things together. And I definitely felt that sense of togetherness during our concert in La Jolla a few weeks ago. And I can't wait to take this album and also concert project around the world.
So are you right now touring with this album?
Yes.
And where's your next stop?
And you.
New York, okay. And then you going to stay on the East Coast, or you just go and...
I try experiment a lot, but my liking is I go to a different city and do maybe one or maximum two and come back. I'm more homebody and love being San Diego and being home. But my job is it required me to go on the road.
Right.
But I once did 17 concerts in one shot during a month. Sorry. After that, I said, no, never again. I don't think that's for me. Maybe for some people,
right.
But the way I give, it was I borrowing the future, or I would age more because I did it so much within so compact time. So I decided I'd like to go on a tour, but pacing myself. So I will tour with a Radiance maybe next 2 years before I embark a new project, and again starting from San Diego.
Just fascinating. We're talking to Jeeyoon Kim, the concert pianist, classical pianist, author of Beyond the Keys, talking about her new album, Radiance. Just a delight. I just love what a deep thinker you are in this, and I'm just shocked. I'm blaming myself. How's it been? 4 years since I've had you on. That's going to change. I'm telling you that right now. In the aspect of it, are you doing any local concerts? You did prep, as you mentioned, with Radiance and all this. Do you do some things for like school groups? Do you do go to the symphony? Whatever.
Interesting. It's not necessarily a strategy, but it became a strategy since I do a lot of concerts out of town. I kind of collect the energy in one concert, like the one I did 2 weeks ago. And everybody, plumber comes by and when are you going to have a concert? Well, you're going to have to wait another 2 years. Or
fly to New York.
Yes. I don't show up a lot locally,
right.
Other than just big concerts like that. Maybe in the private VIP concerts, then if you can be invited, if you are part of my newsletter follower, in which I write every other week. And that was the basis of my Beyond the Keys, because I do write essays every other week. So that's that. But
I need to get on your list. you can kick me off anytime you'd like.
Yeah. So the San Diego, I do one of the bigger concerts like this every 2 or 3 years,
right.
And then maybe off the season, I might do private concerts,
mm-hmm.
VIP concerts, and house concerts, something like that.
Right.
But other than that, I'm busy touring and busy practicing, and San Diego is my home, and this is where
right.
I regenerate. And you will probably find me better in the lineup in a Tourmaline surfing in the sunrise, or you can always catch me every other week in my newsletter. You can always find me on my podcast Journey Through Classical Piano, where I explain one piece of music and what it means to me and share that particular performance, listening together. But there's no guest in my show. It's only me talking to the wall, or basically talking to you.
Right. Well, listen, when we have you back on, which is going to be sooner than later, we're going to talk about everything but music. We're going to talk about everything you love to do, which will easily fill 27 minutes. Your surfing, everything else that you're interested in, because as we all know, all of those things tying into what you do, okay, and what you love, what you're passionate about, you playing, classical music, but even more importantly, turning people on to classical music. I mean, if you were to, I'm assuming, if you were to say, this is my greatest success, I turned on 10 people who have never heard classical music, don't like classical music, would never go near classical music, and that's all they listen to, among other things in that area. On a side note, I can't get enough of live music. I've been fortunate enough that I've had a boat with a partner that's docked at Humphreys. So I'll see about 35 concerts a year right there. And then I go to New Orleans every year for a Jazz and Heritage Festival. I've been 36 times. And so music to me is the most important thing for me for 75 different reasons. Shout out your website one more time.
JeeyoonKim.com, JeeyoonKim.com.
Very good. And it's Beyond the Keys is her book. Get it on Amazon, and the album is Radiance. What a pleasure chatting with you, as always. And I'll apologize in advance when I want to have you back on sooner than later. We're not going to wait 3 years if that's okay.
Yeah, I would love to be back.
Very good. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.